Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. This video is going to be a little bit more on the serious side, because here we'll be talking about a topic that is very important to League of Legends. And that topic, as I'm sure you've already guessed based on the title and the thumbnail, ranked solo queue. Has it been cancelled by Riot? So after hearing the several points I want to mention in this video, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, what is your take on this? Do you think solo queue should come back? Or is ranked dynamic queue just the way to go? So there's been a lot of discussion happening very recently around the community, and there's been somewhat of an uproar regarding this issue. So very quick intro, there's been a post made by a writer. That's a very long post obviously, but the main thing that we care about, the thing that really stands out is this, and I quote, "That said, as we continue our work, we're concerned about the impact solo queue will have on the matchmaking as a whole, and we're assessing how to best proceed. Once we fix the match times and position select, we'll have a better update on other queues." Now what everyone is speculating and what it just seems like Riot is saying essentially is ranked solo queue is cancelled. It just feels like every single hint is pointing towards that conclusion. Now way back when dynamic queue was put into place for ranked gameplay, well, Riot also made a post saying how solo queue ranked is gonna be implemented maybe a couple weeks after. I think it's safe to say that it has been definitely more than a couple of weeks, and this is the only other update we've recently gotten, and it really just says essentially that, well, probably solo queue is cancelled. In my mind and to myself, this is an extremely important topic. This is really what League of Legends is at its core. Competitiveness, the feeling of satisfaction climbing and achieving something by yourself and from your own gameplay and from your own work. So throughout this video guys, I'll be talking about the positives and the negatives of what solo queue will bring to League of Legends, and overall just how dynamic queue impacts this game. So starting things off, well, the good things about this is the fact that sure, dynamic queue is very fun to play with friends. It feels like a fantastic environment. Obviously there's going to be less trolls, usually less ragers, unless your friends are ragers. Now don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, that is what video games are for. You know, you play them with friends, you have fun, you just have a good time. But honestly, to me, that's kind of what normals are for. I mean, normals is where you go to have fun, play with friends, just do kind of whatever you want. When you jump into a ranked game, I mean, you're playing ranked. This is the place you go to truly test yourself, to assess your skill, to see if you got any better. This isn't somewhere where you go to play with friends just because you want to play with friends or just to have fun. No, this is where you go to truly test your skills and test your limits. So with that being said, let's talk about why traditional solo queue is just simply better as a ranked mode than dynamic queue. First and foremost, you can also see that pros are also standing against this. They don't like this dynamic queue system, they want the solo queue system back, and a lot of the community wants it back as well. So like I just said, solo queue is the true way to demonstrate your skill, whether it's just how good you are and how fast you can climb, what's your peak rating, and overall just how people will look at you and your skill level. I mean, yeah, dynamic queue is pretty much what that is at the very moment, but let's be honest, dynamic queue is nowhere near as demonstrative as solo queue would be. Getting a higher ranking in dynamic queue usually is much easier than just straight up raw solo queue, because it really just comes down to who has the better friends or the higher skilled friends, who can gather more people that are just simply better. It doesn't really come down to you playing for yourself and by yourself and playing just to improve yourself and climbing by yourself. So players that do have these friends that are very good at this game, maybe they have a lot of smurfs, well, they are going to be climbing just flat out easier. And players that don't have these kind of friends, or players that just enjoy playing by themselves and that's just the way they like to play, they are going to have usually, not always, but usually a much more difficult time. And the reason for that is because, plain and simple, queuing up alone in dynamic queue is painful. Getting paired up with 4 other premades or 3 is just not fun for the solo person. Those people will just flat out have a control over the game, whether they want to forfeit, whether they want to do a certain thing within the game, they will have control and there's nothing you can do about it. Chances are those players will team up on you and flame you, maybe blame you, be mad at you, be toxic, things like that. And being the solo player, you're not really gonna have much control over that. And it's especially worse in high elo, maybe Diamond 1, Master, or even Challenger, where not only are the queue times absolutely mind-blowingly insane, to the point where the queue time is probably longer than the game you're gonna be playing itself, but there's a very good chance that not only are you going to be facing pre-made teams as a solo player, like 3 or 4 player pre-mates, or even sometimes you'll face a full LCS team while queuing up solo. That should not be happening. That is not the spirit of ranked solo queue play. or just ranked play in general. So it just doesn't feel like everyone is on the same level or has the same chance to climb, unfortunately, with dynamic queue. In solo queue, there really is no excuse. If you can't climb, then that's obviously something to do with you. But dynamic queue just comes down to, like I said, who has the better friends or even just more friends. Here's one that's the most important to me now. League of Legends, to me, is fun because it's competitive. I'm personally a competitive person. I like to play to win. Rarely do I play just for the sole purpose of having fun. To me, winning is fun, and I love winning, and I want to win, but it doesn't feel as satisfying to win in dynamic queue or to get a high ranking in dynamic queue. It just doesn't feel anywhere near as satisfying as it used to, and it becomes much more difficult to gauge a player's skill level based on their rank in dynamic queue. Being able to solo carry a game and being the reason as to why your team won that game is what solo queue is all about. Having people race to the top of the ladder based on their own personal skill level and observing who gets the higher ranking, maybe having the new name show up, maybe someone just completely unheard of gets the first rank out of nowhere, or just even getting your own personal best rating and being able to feel proud of it, knowing that you yourself accomplished that, is truly the real experience in a game like League of Legends. So overall, I mean, Riot did say how solo queue will be coming out after dynamic queue, maybe a week or 2 or 3, but now again, it just feels like they've lied about that. It feels like they only said that to make people happy, to make them just kind of feel relaxed and really give dynamic queue a try. It almost feels like they just flat out baited us into this, and it does feel a little bit weird. Again, we're not 100% sure, maybe it actually is coming, it's just going to be very severely delayed. Nothing is 100% confirmed, but this is exactly what it feels like. So at the end of the day, they can just release both of the queues, dynamic ranked queue and solo ranked queue, though that will feel a little bit weird, and the issue is going to be you are dividing the player base. You'll have X amount of players playing ranked dynamic, you'll have an X amount of players playing ranked solo, and this is not going to be necessarily a good thing. And the reason for that is because, again, you're dividing the player base. This will result in probably very long queue times, if not at least double than what you currently experience. I feel like what they need to do is obviously bring back solo queue. Without question, solo queue needs to exist, and maybe bring back ranked 5s, or somehow make dynamic queue rank not feel as important, and only solo rank being the very important one when it comes to getting rewards at the end of the season, or something along the lines of that. I don't know, that's just kind of what I feel. I love dynamic queue, I love being able to play with friends and queuing up with friends, don't get me wrong, especially in ranked. It feels awesome, but that's what ranked 5s was. And I really do want dynamic queue to remain, especially in a ranked format. I just don't want that to be the main thing. That should be solely for the purpose of having fun and just chilling with your friends, not for the sole purpose of really testing your own personal limits. But that's about it for this video, guys. There's my rant about this topic. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Make sure to like the video if you enjoy this, especially if you agree with what I said or if you want solo queue to come back. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.